What is up, everyone? Thank you very much for tuning in and joining myself on a totally new chapter, which has a lot to do with my old and quite well-viewed project. So you are looking here on my old project, which was the Apple Xserve rate system, which you can see here. In the last video series, you joined myself on the journey of getting this thing to converting it to a totally new and awesome RAID server, which can take 14 drives with SATA and not IDE. So if you haven't watched this series, I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun and a huge experience for myself, and it makes quite a good watch. So have a look at that if you want to, if you like that. Today I will start a totally new series of Xserve videos because I have a little upgrade to this, and the upgrade is right here. So stay tuned. So guys, what you can see here is my new Xserve 2.1. It's a 2008 model, and I've acquired it really cheap. I've paid 100 euros for it, and that included the shipping. So that was a deal that I couldn't turn down. I waited a long time for this to happen because I really wanted an Xserve 2.1 because they are quite a lot easier to upgrade than the 1.1 generation. And it should be clear, yes, it is it isn't an G5 or G4 Xserve, because they really are quite outdated. This thing is an Intel based, not a Power, Mac based Xserve, and it is not the last generation. The last generation was from 2009. If you can find those, they are the best thing you can buy, but at the moment they are not cheap. This, on the other hand, was really cheap, but it was cheap for a reason. I'm not sure if you can see this here. This entire part here on the front was bent backwards like so. I had to bend it forward again, so it had damage quite a bit, but that worked out really well. I'm happy with that. And the only problem that I have at the moment is, or the only problem that this damage made is that the DVD slot is not in a great condition. I will have to look on restoring that, but my plans won't be hurt with that. The DVD tray is working, and the other problem that I have is the second hard drive bay is a bit I have problems pushing it easily out. It works, but you need a bit more force than the other two. So one thing that I had to purchase were the drive bays. To be exactly, I had to purchase 3 of them. The Xserve came with none, just with those blank cartridges. So I've purchased those 3. They are SATA power, so if you would like to buy such a thing, pay attention that you have the SATA powered version of the cartridges. Yeah, that's really important. So, what will I do with this thing? The first thing to know is I've bought it because, yes, it looks well. It's a perfect fit with my Xserve RAID, and I will use it as a render farm. It will render videos that will be stored down here. So it will work like so. This down here is my main server, but it's not that fast reading and writing data. That's a bit of a problem. So what I do is on my main machine I do all the editing, then I'll send it over the net to this machine. This will render it out, send it to my server, and from there it will be uploaded onto YouTube. So yeah, it's a 3-component setup. I'm looking into multi-rendering, but the problem is the only Adobe program that supports multi-rendering is After Effects. and I'm not using that as often. Premiere Pro, which is the program that I use, does not support it. So the version running on this Apple Xserve will have to be exactly the same as the version of my PC. Okay, that's the first thing you have to know. This machine will go through quite of an upgrade process. At the moment, this thing is the lowest spec base model that you can get. So it has one quad-core processor. It's an Intel Xenon one with 2.4 gigahertz, if I'm right, or it's 2.8, I'm not sure. So it's one processor, 4 cores, that's it. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM, but it is upgradable to 32 gigabytes of RAM. The other upgrade that I will do is there is a second CPU tray, so that so I will upgrade this machine to two CPUs running a total of 8 cores with 2.4 or 2.8 gigahertz. So this will be quite a beast. For doing that, I had to purchase a temperature sensor, which the CPU will need, so that the fans will spin accordingly and not full all of the time. That is something I already did purchase. Yeah, so that's one thing that I will do. So let's talk about the second thing that I will do. In the current state, Apple does not support the current operating systems with the Xserve models. The problem is that the graphics card won't go up to a higher, from an operating standpoint, higher than the Snow Leopard operating system. So my first goal will be to get this machine up and running with 8 cores, 2 CPUs, 8 cores, 32 gigs of RAM, and Snow Leopard, which is the last operating system. That will be one part. And then what I want to do is I want to buy a graphics card for this machine, which is not that easy. You need a Mac graphics card. This graphics card will be the GT120 from Nvidia. It will have to be the original one out of the Mac Pro. With this graphics card and a little bit of modifications, I will get the support for this machine with all of the new operating systems of Mac, which is handy for 64-bit computing stuff. So I'm not sure which operating system I will eventually run. I won't go to the Sierra one. I'm not sure, I will have to look into that. But that will be an upgrade thing. The problem with this kind of Mac is that if you want to upgrade the graphics card, you can't go to the normal graphics card, which are double height. You need a graphics card with a single slot from the height perspective. So that's a little bit of a problem, and therefore, yeah, I will have to look into the GT120s, but they are quite expensive. They're around 100 bucks, but I will search for one that's cheap. The next thing I want to do is you can install an SSD into this, and I don't want to have this SSD on those front drive bays. I want to have this SSD in the back. So I have a few PCI slots in this Xserve, and one of those PCI slots I will do I will insert an mSATA adapter, and then I will buy an mSATA SSD, and this SSD will run the entire machine, so the operating system will be on it. And if the operating system is on that and I'm booting from that, I have those 3 drive bays free, and I can have RAID 0 drives in there. If I'm right, I'm not sure about that yet, but this machine shouldn't have the RAID controller in it, which is a good thing and a bad thing. A bad thing because I can't do hardware RAID on this machine, which is a pain. A good thing because you don't get the hardware controller failure, which happens with those machines quite often. The problem is that you have an RAID battery, and those RAID batteries, they often go flat. And if they go flat, your entire system is dead. And those batteries are so expensive. You have to pay something around 100 euros to get just this battery, and they are essential for the Xserve to run properly. So if I have this RAID controller in there, I don't think it is, because it was a quite expensive upgrade. If I have it in there, I will have to look into buying an old used board, which is a direct replacement. There are a lot of them on eBay. They go for around 30 to 40 bucks, which gets rid of the RAID controller. But I don't think I have to, but we will look into that later in the series. So yeah, that's about the RAID controller. So I will do a software RAID with the server. So I'm not sure about if I want to have 2 or 3 drives. I will look into that. But I really do want to have a RAID 0, which makes rendering and hardware hungry, resource hungry stuff like rendering so much faster. But if I do that, I will have to look into making a really good recovering system, so a really good backup solution, so that I will do that by coupling this upper server with my Xserve RAID server. So there will be an hourly backup from this server to this server, so that if one of those drives will fail eventually, that I won't have any data loss. So yeah, that is what I have in mind with this server. It will be a render farm. It won't be on all of the time. I will fire this server just up if I need to have a video render done and I still want to do stuff on my normal machine. And it will be great for that, and I will use it for multi-threaded network rendering. So yeah, this will be the next project for this channel, and it will be quite an odyssey. I haven't had anything with the system happen yet. The only thing that I did was I replaced those hard drive bays. That's the only thing. And I did I turned it on once, and what happened was this attention LED was flickering. The CPU level worked, but yeah, this attention thing was blinking. That might be the case because we haven't any hard drives in here, but I'm not sure. So yeah, this will be quite a thing to explore, and it will take me months to complete. And I will take you on to this journey, and I hope you will enjoy it. So, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to hear soon from you, if you like it. And yeah, thank you very much. Goodbye.